Okay, so in today's video, my brother and I will be replacing my Pitman arm and rebuilding the steering box in my 1980 Toyota pickup. And we made 2 mistakes along the way, so hopefully you can learn from them and do better. Alright, so first we're going to take out the pin at the back of the Pitman arm. So you just get some needle nose pliers and yank it out of there. And next, we're going to take a 17mm socket. That was obviously the wrong size, but it is 17mm. And get that next nut out of there. And we're gonna kind of knock it with a rubber hammer just to get it loose. And then this one right here is a 32mm. What makes you say that we'll have to take it out first?
Just the way the Pitman arm is right here. I can't take it out of that socket, and I can't take it out of this one. So I think we're gonna have to get that loosened and then bump it out of here.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Alright, so now we're going to take out the air box, which is held in by 3 bolts. I believe they were either 12 or 14mm. I think they were 12. And here we're taking apart those hoses that are connected to the steering box that connect to the front of the truck and kind of run in front of the radiator. And it does get pretty messy, so I would recommend putting some cardboard down in your garage. And then not pictured here is us loosening the bolts at the front and the back of the steering column so that we could slide the teeth out from the steering box where it connects. Alright, and now we're able to just lift up the steering box out of the car, set it down, and moving on to actually replacing the Pitman arm. Just gotta muscle it out of there. Mine was like really stuck in there, so just hit it a few times. Take out your anger on it. The little tool pictured here is a Pitman arm puller. It's very necessary for this job. You will have to get this.
Those are 12s.
Okay, so now we're taking out the bolts surrounding the adjusting screw, which are 14mm. Alright, and here we're loosening the nut that surrounds the adjusting screw. And we're going to loosen it completely, and when it comes off, there is a lot of fluid that comes out, so be ready for that.
So this is one of the seals that we've taken off. Oops. We'll keep it. And then, pretty sure, you just screw this guy in and it pops off. Yep. That should be good for now. Okay. Alright. So I think next is we have to get this guy off.
And now that's good.
I think we have to do this.
And inside here is a heat.
How do you
Yeah, I think we take this off and then.
Alright, so there is another nut surrounding the adjuster screw, and it's kind of big, but you can just get a punch and knock it around. It's threaded, so it should just come right out. In that next part under the nut, there's something. I don't know what it's called, but it has 2 holes in it. It's threaded. You can just get some needle nose pliers instead of the fancy tool for it and just twist it off. Alright, and this one is called the sector shaft. It's the one with the teeth. Just tap it to remove it. And this next one is called the worm gear. It goes into a piston. And be careful because more fluid comes out. So we were messy. You get the opportunity to not be.
Is that where all of the
bearings are?
Yeah.
Yep.
There are a bunch of little ball bearings in that piston. Make sure you don't lose any of them or get them dirty.
Let's try to.
Alright, and then you can gently punch the worm gear out of its housing. There's 2 Teflon seals on there that we're going to replace, and then there was an O-ring in the actual housing. You can kind of see the track for it from this angle. And then this right here, let me tell you what, this was a pain in our butts. This jump ring, or snap ring, or whatever it's called, took forever to get out.
Oh. Yeah, it's a taste test, Mac.
I would not if I was you. Oh yeah, that seal's done too.
Nice.
Alright. Oh, that's 2 different ones. That was the same. Okay, cool. Nylon and O-ring.
Then we're gonna remove the Teflon rings from the worm gear. And at this point, I went and started some boiling water, because you do have to boil the new Teflon O-rings because they are too stiff to get back on there. Alright, and here Mac is removing the little tunnel on the piston that the ball bearings travel through. And also the Teflon ring on the piston, but keep in mind there is an O-ring under it. So there are 2 seals right there. Now we're going back to that first seal and punching it out so we can replace it with our new one.
That was this guy.
And when you put that new seal in, make sure you get it level or even on all sides. So we ended up getting a socket and using that to even it out, you'll see.
Oh.
One side doesn't want to go down anymore.
So when we're replacing the seals, make sure you lube them up a little bit with some fluid, just so they go on easier and seal better. This one had some trouble getting in there. It's just a little bit too big, but eventually we were able to get it in. Not sure what was up with it, but it eventually worked, so I mean, I guess nothing. There's a tiny little O-ring there that we need to replace. Easy to forget about. Now we're gonna go fishing for our Teflon rings in the boiling water and get them out. Keep in mind this one has the second rubber O-ring around it already. There are 2 pieces, and I'm right over there still trying to get that freaking O-ring in the first one. It was just not going in, guys. It's just a little bit too big, and there was a little bubble, but it went in, I promise. And now we're gonna pack the ends of that little tunnel for the ball bearings with some grease so that we can load it up and they won't fall out. Loading up the track with the ball bearings helps us later to load them all in, because you'll see that it's kind of a stretch at the end to fit the last one.
Okay, and the O-ring stayed. Great.
Nice. Okay.
Okay. So then we need. Oh yeah, that's nice. Those Teflon rings are gonna help a lot. And this guy went next, I believe. In that bearing, right? Here, you drop balls and I'll twist.
Okay.
Any of them, or else we're screwed.
All right, then you just slap her back in there and tighten those bolts back down.
Now we'll get this guy lined up.
Okay, now that we have it secure in there, we're going to line up those index marks on that nut.
How long did
did it take you to do this all by yourself?
These teeth gotta line up. I think, yeah, we have to do this set of seals now. So an O-ring first. This guy around it. You gotta stretch a little bit there, but there's this guy. Maybe not. See if I can snake this in there without having to take the piston back out.
We ended up having to knock the sector shaft back out just a little bit so we can get that snap ring in.
Two. Okay. Put that guy on after gear. This thing is heavy after a while, I swear.
Mm-hmm.
Tap it. Just light. It's not on the screw, the side, yeah.
Okay, it's
Nice, sweet. And then okay.
Alright, so not pictured again is us tightening the bolts at the front and the back of the sector shaft. We went ahead and slid it back in so everything there is connected. Alright, so we're just reassembling everything, putting that pin back in, but this is where we made our first mistake. So here we go, let's get into it.
This is as far as it wants to go this way.
Really?
Yeah.
When we put it back together, the piston here must have rotated a little bit.
Oh.
So when I put it back on, it was probably like full left, and I put it on while it was straight, and it can't go right.
Okay.
So let's try to buzz this guy a bit.
You know this is going in the YouTube video, right?
So here we're just loosening it up enough to get that Pitman arm back off. Alright, then we rotated the wheels all the way left, which is the way it wasn't wanting to go, and reconnected it, tightened it all back up, and made sure I had full range of motion. And then we're just tightening up the adjusting screw on top of the steering box. So make sure the flathead is in all the way, or at least where you want it, and then tighten the nut down. And now we're just putting in the airbox again, tightening everything up. And now it's time to put in more power steering fluid, which is our second mistake. Instead of regular power steering fluid, you should put automatic transmission fluid, specifically the Dextron one, in here, because the new power steering fluids have something in it that can corrode or break down the seals faster. But other than that, you just top off the reservoir, and while you're doing it, have someone in the truck turning the wheel back and forth so that it works through the system more. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope this helps.